In this lecture, we will discuss about some examples of groups. So, in the previous lecture, we have discussed that the set of all integer numbers starting from minus infinity to 0 to plus infinity forms a group. But it is not necessary that it will form a group under multiplication, because when we have discussed that the set of integers form a group, the necessary law was the addition law, that is the set of integers form a group under addition law. But the same set of integers does not form a group under multiplication law. Even if 0 is excluded, suppose you write the set of integers in this way so that 0 is excluded, but even if you exclude 0, in that case also they do not form a group under ordinary multiplication. Unity must be the identity of the set, but the requisite inverse of any integer n, namely 1 by n, does not belong to the set of integers for any n other than unity. For example, suppose n is 2. So, according to the condition of forming the group, so there must be inverse of the integer 2. So, inverse of the integer 2 is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is 0.5, but that is not an integer. So, 1 by 2 does not belong to the group. That is why the set of integers does not form a group under ordinary multiplication, even if we are excluding 0. So, there must be some particular law of combination, so that the set of elements qualify as groups. The sets of all real numbers or of all complex number under addition and of the same two sets excluding 0 under multiplication form a group. So, this is another example. In the previous example, we have discussed the set of integers, but now we are discussing the set of all real numbers or of all complex numbers. So, they form a group under addition, and these same sets, that is set of real numbers means it will includes the fractions. So, these sets form a group under multiplication if you exclude 0. We have to exclude 0, so that the set of all real numbers or complex number form a group under multiplication, and these two groups are abelian groups. We have already defined the meaning of abelian group in our earlier lectures. Although subtraction and division are normally considered the obvious counterparts of the operations of ordinary addition and multiplication, we know that subtraction is actually can be obtained by operating the addition, and division is also a particular form of the multiplication. So, that is why we are saying in this way, that is subtraction and division are normally considered the obvious counterparts of the operations of ordinary addition and multiplication. They are not acceptable operations for use within groups, since the associative law does not hold. So, if you state mathematically, so we can say in this way, that is x minus y minus z. Y minus z has been written inside the first bracket, that is not equal to x minus y minus z. Here x minus y has been written inside the first bracket. So, this actually left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. That means associative law does not hold in case of subtraction, and similarly in case of division also x divided y divided by z, and y divided by z has been written inside the first bracket. In the right hand side x divided by y has been written inside the first bracket. So, this left hand side is not equal to the right hand side. That means associative law does not hold in case of subtraction and division. So, these two laws are not considered during the formation of the groups. From within the field of all non-zero complex numbers, we can select just those that have unit modulus. So, we can select some complex numbers which have unit modulus, that is they are of the form e to the power I theta. So, e to the power I theta is a generalized complex number whose modulus is unit, and here the range of theta is greater than equal to 0, less than equal to 2 pi. So, this complex number forms a group under multiplication, and it can be verified in this way. Suppose you see the range of angle theta is 0 to 2 pi. So, suppose we take two elements e to the power I theta 1 into e to the power I theta 2. They are any two elements of the set e to the power I theta where you are varying the angle theta. Varying the angle theta, we can form a group, but if you choose any two elements of that group, so suppose e to the power I theta 1 is one of the element and e to the power I theta 2 is other element. Here theta 1 and theta 2 are arbitrary angles, they ranging from 0 to 2 pi. So, product of e to the power I theta 1 into e to the power I theta 2 is equal to e to the power I theta 1 plus theta 2. But theta 1 plus theta 2, they will give a particular angle, but this this particular number is also the element of that group. So, this is the closure property in case of complex number of the form e to the power I theta. Here we have to generate the group by varying the angle theta. Theta can be any angle ranging from 0 to 2 pi. Now, you see, if theta is 0, then e to the power I into 0, that will be 1, and 1 is the identity element for this particular group. And there is an inverse element corresponding to any particular element. Suppose you choose an element e to the power I theta, which is any element of the group e to the power I theta, that is a group of the complex number. So, e to the power I into 2 pi minus theta, that will be the inverse of e to the power I theta. This is the general form of the inverse element e to the power I into 2 pi minus theta. So, if we multiply e to the power I into 2 pi minus theta into e to the power I theta, that will be equal to e to the power I into 2 pi. It means e to the power I into 0, that is equal to 1. So, inverse element exists, and the associative law holds. So, then combining all the four properties, we can say that the set of all non-zero complex number which have unit modulus and which are of the form e to the power I theta, they form groups, they form a group. And let us now discuss another example which is closely related to the above group. So, let us consider a set of 2 into 2 rotation matrices that take the form m theta is equal to cos theta minus sin theta cos theta. So, m theta is a matrix and it is known as rotation matrix. So, form of the m theta is like this. Here the range of theta is from 0 to 2 pi, and these m theta also form a group, and the law of combination is the matrix multiplication. For example, in the previous case, the law of composition was multiplication, simply ordinary multiplication, but here the law of combination or composition is the matrix multiplication. Now let us see that the m theta, that matrices forms a group or not. So suppose m theta into m phi, so that will give us m of theta plus phi. Now m theta and m phi are any two elements of the set of matrices m theta. Now if we matrix multiply m theta and m phi, so that will give some new matrix m of theta plus phi, but this m of theta plus phi is again an element of the group formed by the rotation matrices. So this is the closure property. Again, if you set m 0, where m theta is any element of the group of rotation matrices, and if we put theta is equal to 0, then we will obtain I2. I2 means a 2 by 2 matrix. I2 means a 2 by 2 unit matrix. So if we put the angle theta is equal to 0, then we will obtain a 2 by 2 unit matrix, and that is the identity element for the group. Again, there exists an inverse for any particular element m theta. So the inverse of m theta is m of 2 pi minus theta, that is equal to m inverse theta, and this is the inverse law. And finally the associative law holds. So we can say the 2 into 2 rotation matrices form a group where m theta is expressed in this manner. Now let us discuss some another type of group. For example, it is clear that the set of all integers does not form a group under ordinary multiplication. It was already discussed. They can form a group under addition, but they do not form a group under ordinary multiplication. Restricted sets can do so if the operation involved is multiplication mod n for suitable values of n. But restricted sets, suppose we are choosing some particular set of integer elements, and this set of integer elements can form a group under multiplication, but this multiplication is a special multiplication, and we say that multiplication mod n, where n is a suitable value for some particular group. So let us consider a simple group, and this group has only 4 members, 1, 3, 5 and 7, and we will show that this set of integers can form a group under ordinary multiplication, but as already mentioned that this multiplication is actually multiplication mod n, and for this particular set of integers the value of n is 8. So S forms a group under multiplication mod 8. Now how multiplication mod 8 can be performed, that I will discuss now. So let us consider two elements, and to find the product of any two elements we multiply them together in the ordinary way and then divide the answer by 8, treating the remainder after doing so as the product of the two elements. So how to find the product? At first you just multiply them in ordinary multiplication. After the multiplication you have to divide the answer by 8, then there will be some remainder. So that remainder is the ultimate product. For example, 5 into 7 is equal to 35. So 5 is one of the element of this group and 7 is another element of this group, and 5 into 7 is equal to 35 is under ordinary multiplication. So after the ordinary multiplication we have to divide 35 by 8. After the division we are obtaining the remainder 3. So 3 is the ultimate product after the multiplication mod 8. Clearly, since y into z is equal to z into y, so for this group y into z is equal to z into y holds. So the full set of different products, if we consider the full set of different products, so the products will be like this. Suppose you start from the element 1 and you multiply the element 1 with all the 4 elements. For example, 1 into 1 is equal to 1, 1 into 3 is equal to 3, 1 into 5 is equal to 5, and 1 into 7 is equal to 7. And here you see that although suppose we are obtaining 1 into 3 is equal to 3 under ordinary multiplication, but if you divide 3 by 8, then the remainder will also be 3. Similarly, if you divide 5 by 8, the remainder is also 5. So here actually 1, 3, 5, 7 they are obtained under ordinary multiplication, but even if you are that is take mod 8, but the result will be unchanged, same result you will obtain. Next you take the element 3 and multiply 3 with all other elements. So the first multiplication will be 3 into 1, but 1 into 3 is equal to 3 into 1. That is why we have not written 3 into 1 again, because it has been written here 1 into 3 is equal to 3 and 1 into 3 is equal to 3 into 1. Now next product will be 3 into 3. 3 into 3 is actually 9 under ordinary multiplication, but if you take the mod 8, then you have to divide 9 by 8 and you will obtain the remainder 1. You have to write the remainder here. Similarly, 3 into 5 is equal to 15, but if you take mod 8, then 15 mod 8, it means that is if you divide 15 by 8, then the remainder will be 7. So you have to write the remainder only. In this way you can obtain products. These are the all products that you can obtain for this set, and it can be clearly seen that the results that we are obtaining from the multiplication mod 8, so all the product belongs to the set S. So closure property holds under multiplication mod 8. All the products belongs to this set. Each multiplication produces a member of the original set, that is the set is closed. Obviously, the element 1 takes the role of the identity, that is 1 into y is equal to y for all members y. You see the first line, that is if you take the element 1 and multiply other elements with 1, so you will obtain 1, 3, 5, 7, that is the members of the set. So we can take the element 1 as the identity element. Further, for each element y of the set, there is an element z such that y into z is equal to 1. So in this particular group the inverse element exists, because you see 1 into 1 is equal to 1, 3 into 3 is equal to 1, 5 into 5 is equal to 1, 7 into 7 is equal to 1. So the meaning is that inverse exists, but each element is its own inverse. Why? Because you see, when we have obtained ultimately the product 1, we have obtained in the case of 1 into 1, that is 1, 3 into 3, that is also 1, 5 into 5, that is 1, and 7 into 7, that is also 1. So each element has inverse, but the point is that that each element is inverse of its own. These observations together with the associativity of multiplication mod 8, we can say that S forms a group, because all the condition of the group is satisfied for these set of elements. And we can also say that the set S is an abelian group of order 4. We have already defined the abelian group. So, this particular group is an example of the abelian group. Now, we will discuss some other types of the group. So, these groups are the set of transformation operation or symmetry operation for a square. So, at first you have to draw a square in your notebook. You draw a square in this way, and you also write down some numbers such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These numbers you have to write outside the square, and you label the corners in this way, that A, this corner is A, this corner is B, this corner is C, and this corner is D. Now, we will discuss the symmetry operation for this particular square. But before that, let me say some words, that is, if a rotation through an angle 2 pi by n, n is a positive integer, about some axis leaves the system invariant, the axis is known as an n-fold symmetry axis of the system, and the corresponding operation is denoted by Cn. Here I will show you step by step different symmetry operation of a square, but you have to know that the rotation axis will pass through this point. This is a point, you see the point lies in the center of the square, and you have to consider an axis which passes through this point. So, this is an axis, and if a rotation through an angle 2 pi by n, where n is a positive integer, and I will show you that in this particular case n is 4. So, this axis will be known as 4-fold symmetry axis, and the corresponding operation is denoted by Cn, it means C4. Its integral powers, which will also be symmetry transformation of the system, will be denoted by Cn to the power k. For example, if we denote the rotation by pi by 2 by C4, then its integral powers will be denoted by C4 to the power something. It may be C4(2) or C4(3), etc. I will show you step by step. So, at first you draw the square in your notebook, and you just draw some numbers here such as 1, 2, 3 and 4, and for the corners you write A, B, C and D. So, this is the initial position of the square, and if you do nothing, so that will be one of the operation. We have already discussed in our earlier lectures, that is, doing nothing is also an operation that leaves the system invariant. So, this is the operation, that is the identity operation, and the symbol for this identity operation is either E or I. In some books I is written to denote the identity, and in some books the identity operation is denoted by the symbol E. So, this is the identity operation, that means we are doing nothing. Now, let us consider that there is an axis passing through the center of the square. This is the center of the square, and an axis is passing through the center of the square, and this axis is perpendicular to the plane of the square. Now, a clockwise rotation through 90 degree about an axis normal to the square and passing through the center. So, if we rotate the square by the angle 90 degree, then what will happen? This was the initial position. So, after the rotation of 90 degree, this A will come to the position of B, and B will come to the position of C, C will go to the position of D, and D will go to the position of A. So, ultimately this index will change, and A, B, C, D will be the new set of index, but here 1, 2, 3, 4 is unchanged. We have drawn the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 outside the square to indicate that there is some change in the index, because you see at first A corresponds to 1, but here D corresponds to 1. That means there is some change of index, but the shape of the square is unchanged, that is square is unchanged. Now, we are giving rotation through 180 degree about the same axis. So, if we give 180 rotation, then what will happen? That is, this was the initial position of A corresponds to 1, but after 90 degree rotation, A will come to this point, that is A will occupy the position of B. But if you do another rotation, then what will happen? This A will again come to the position of C. So, ultimately the position will be shifted by 2. So, A will come here. Similarly, C will come to the position of A. So, in this way ultimately the new indexing pattern will be CDAB. So, this is the new pattern which has been obtained after 180 rotation. 180 degree rotation is denoted by the symbol C42. C4 is the rotation through 90 degree, and C42 sometimes C42 is written in this way, that is C4 dot C4 or C42. That is, we are operating C4 operation 2 times, that is why we are writing it C42. And in a similar manner, if you give a rotation through 270 degree, then this pattern will generate. So, this is the operation of C43. Now, if we again give a rotation, that means if we rotate through 360 degree, that means if we write C4 to the power 4, so C4 to the power 4 is actually the identity operation E. So, we are not writing C44 because C44 is not a new element. The operation C44 is same as identity operation. Now, there is some another operations, for example, reflection operation. So, reflection in the line 5, 7. So, you just write 5 and 7 here, and you put a mirror here, but you just see the initial figure. This is the initial figure, and you have kept a mirror just here. So, if you keep a mirror here, then what will happen? The AB will come down after reflection, and CD will go up, that is they will take the positions of AB after reflection. So, the positions of that is upper half and lower half will be interchanged. So, by the reflection in the line 5, 7, this AB and CD they just interchange their position. And in a similar manner, if we keep the mirror in the line 6, 8, this is 6, 8 is a line, and if we keep a mirror in the line 6, 8, then what will happen? This is the initial figure. If we keep a mirror here, then AD and BC they will interchange their position. AD will, that is the left hand side index AD, and they will come to the right hand side, and the right hand side index BC they will come to the left hand side. So, after this operation BC will come here and AD will come here. So, this is the reflection in the line 6, 8. Another reflection may be in the corners 1, 3. If we put a mirror in the corner, then what will happen? These two positions will be interchanged, but you see the initial figure, you have kept the mirror in the 1, 3 line. So, B and D will interchange their position, but AC will remain unchanged. So you see A and C is unchanged, but B and D interchange their position. And if you keep the mirror in the line 2, 4, that is in this corner, then what will happen? Here BD, that is index in this line, will remain unchanged, but C and A they will interchange their position. So, this is the reflection in the line 2, 4. So, this is the overall operations, symmetry operations for a square. So, we have obtained total 1, this is 1, 2, 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, and this is 8. So, we have obtained total 8 elements. Now I will show you some surprising fact, that is, suppose you take any two elements. Suppose you are taking sigma u and C4. Now suppose C4 is operated on the square, that is ABCD. So after the operation of C4, the new indexing will be DABC. We have already discussed that is how the indexing will change after the operation of C4. Next, sigma u will operate on this square. Now what is the meaning of sigma u? You just check it again. Sigma u means reflection in the line 1 3, that is you have to set a mirror here in this corner. So if you set a mirror in this corner, so these two position will remain unchanged, only they will interchange. So you see the figure, that is you set a mirror here, so dB will be unchanged and A and C will interchange their position, that is why this is C and this is A. So ultimately we have obtained this indexing pattern. So at first C4 will operate on this square, and next sigma u will operate on the square. So C4 is the first operation, sigma u is the second operation, and after the successive operation of C4 and sigma u, we have obtained this pattern. But this pattern is equivalent if we operate mx on the initial figure ABCD, because you see this indexing pattern is exactly same when mx has been operated on the square, because you see that DCBA you have obtained, you see in case of mx you have obtained the pattern DCBA. So if we operate sigma u and C4 successively, then this operation is equivalent to the operation of mx. So we can say sigma u and sigma u C4 is equal to mx. And in a similar manner, you can take any two elements of the group, and you will find that if you operate two elements successively, then you will obtain a new element which belongs to the set. That this is not a element which is outside the set. After the operation of two elements, you will obtain an element which is also belongs to the set. That means closure property holds for the elements of symmetry transformation of a square. Second thing is that suppose C4 3 and C4, these are the two elements, and at first C4 is being operated on the square, then you are obtaining this pattern. Next C4 3 will operate on this indexing pattern, then you will obtain ABCD, that is this type of pattern. But you see that ABCD is equivalent to the identity operation. So if you operate C4 3 and C4 successively, at first C4 will operate, then C4 3 will operate, but C4 3 and product of C4 3 and C4 is equal to the identity operation. And if they are being operated in reverse order, that is at first C4 3 is operated, next C4 is operated, then the matter is same. Here I have shown that if C4, if we write C4 first, then C4 3, it means at first C4 3 will operate on ABCD, next C4 will operate on this, and ultimately we will obtain the same identity pattern. So we can write that is C4 3 into C4 into C4 3 is equal to C4 3 into C4 is equal to E. It means that C4 inverse is equal to C4 3. Why? Because C4 into C4 3 is equal to C4 3 into C4 is equal to I or E. That is why C4 inverse is equal to C4 3. So there is inverse of some particular element, and this is one of the example. But if you do some exercise, that is you can find inverse of any element in the group of symmetry elements of a square. You can try this. This is one of the example, that is C4 3 is the inverse of C4 or C4 is the inverse of C4 3, but you can find inverse of any element of the symmetry operation of a square, and that element also belong to that group. So, this is another condition for forming a group. First we have discussed the closure property, and next we have shown that there exists inverse for any element of the symmetry operation of a square. And it is also true that there is an identity element. E is the identity element here. There must be some identity element, and there must be inverse element for every element. And finally, the transformations obey the associative law. Hence, all the properties for the formation of group holds for the symmetry operation of a square. So, this symmetry group of a square containing 8 elements, that means its order is 8, and this group is denoted by C4V in crystallography. So, so far we have discussed different examples of group, and the content of the lectures has been taken from the mathematical methods of physics and engineers, written by Riley, Hobson and Benz, and this particular element is from the textbook of Joshi. So, I request the viewers to go through those textbooks for further understanding, and I thank you all for listening this lecture.